when there's an injustice, whether it's against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down. Don't sit down on them because they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore, and I am in love with Camille Vasquez. Oh my God. I couldn't be prouder to have my shirt today. So glad we had it in stock, and I got it in time for today's fiery cross from Camille. I'm so glad it got to start today. I was starting to lose my mind listening to Amber continue to go on in her drone, blah, 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 lies. The most biggest takeaway today was it was so obvious to me that Amber and her team had been watching this past week and prepping on how the internet, social media, the public in general had been responding to this case. And they tried so hard to combat each of those points. More and more lies. And then Camille stepped up, and man, she did not disappoint. I'm so excited to break it down with my amazing panelists. We got some special guests today. Here they all are. I see it's Kim. I see Steph, the alter nerd, and I see Christopher Melcher. What is up, you guys? Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hey up. Hey up.
There we go. Awesome to have you all. And Amy Goodhart is going to be here in a minute as well. Invited her as well because you guys loved her, and I was so excited to get her commentary as she was texting me on her thoughts on this. So she'll be popping up in a minute as well. So we're going to have a packed house. All right, so Christopher, I want to go to you first because did you get the vibe that they're paying attention to social media? Because it sure felt like they were going after some of the things we've brought up. And in fact, I feel like they were even responding to your thread. There was a moment where she was trying to talk about the TRO, and I had to go there to give my testimony. And I didn't know the press was going to be there, blah, 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 which goes against our very viral video/thread that we put out this week. Did you get any vibe that they were trying to combat the word out there on the street?
Well, it may all have been coincidence, but definitely we've been spending this week off here doing, the shows and tweets about how this whole thing developed with the restraining order. And it's a good story to see because it shows how she manipulated, I think, the media, Johnny, the court. And there was questions raised that she answered in her testimony. Now, maybe that was coming either way, but basically the issues were, hey, did you give Johnny notice? Well, we know that it was a voicemail to Johnny's attorney at 9:45 a.m. for a hearing the next day. So she says, yes, notice was given. Then there was a question of, well, why were you there in court? Well, because we had been raising this question because in Los Angeles Superior Court, you don't need to be there. These are done on the paperwork generally. You just file it and you get your result, and the court typically doesn't come out and speak to anybody. So we wouldn't have the client there, and especially in a high profile, we would have the client waiting outside of court somewhere, so we wouldn't have the big media circus, but she goes into court. So she says, yeah, I needed to be there. She said, well, here's a picture of me in court. Well, I noticed from the horrible backdrop that that's in the hallway at Los Angeles Superior Court. And I tweeted out the court rule, the order prohibiting photographs in the courthouse. And why would anybody document that life event? Here you're sitting in court, which is a disgusting place, awful place for any human to be. In court, you've got some bruised eye and you're waiting for a restraining order when you claim like, oh my God, the media is here. I can't believe they're here. And why would you take a photograph of yourself? She also addressed the makeup issue. She's there with a bruise, but the next day she's not wearing a bruise. And she says, well, I always wear makeup. Well, my suspicion is she was wearing makeup. She was actually telling the truth in that one respect. She was wearing makeup on both days, one to show a black eye when she went to court, and then the other day with her regular makeup. So she did definitely address these things. Again, maybe it's completely coincidental, but trying to recover from, she looks horrible just on that one incident.
Yeah, the other thing that did come up today, I was trying to cue it up, but the other thing I was very happy that we got to hear the origin of was...
Couch.
My couch shirt's on its way. I cannot wait to wear my couch shirt because now we've learned couch was their safe word. Oh my God. What? Couch was the safe word, guys. That's what we said. She sounds like she's so calmly trying to get Johnny to talk safely, doesn't it, guys, when you hear this?
Couch. Couch. She should have used that couch safe word whilst Camille was proper going after and destroying her. That's when she should have used the safe word then. I'll tell you that right now, guys.
She did damn right, Steph. But my God, we have that clip. We're gonna a lot of clips we're gonna go through. There's so much to organize, so bear with us as I try to get all our clips because we just finished. So thanks to all our editors and all our help and Kim and everybody today for getting us organized. Sorry, so there's a lot to go through here today. I do kind of want to start with. I put a video out showing Amber's lies, so I don't really want to play that again. The most telling thing to me though was, I mean, there were a few things, but. She just changed her story so many times. Literally, the beginning of the whole testimony was her changing her testimony to say, "Oh yeah, I got the date wrong." You know, it's a thing you never forget, guys, right, Steph? Kim, you never forget. Oh, but I was a year off on forgetting.
But I forgot it for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's absurd, no?
It is.
I know things like, there are recollection things that happen, but a whole year off, Steph, Kim, quickly thoughts on that?
No. At least in my case, I can't remember everything that happened with mine, but I definitely know the year that it happened. That there's no question on that front whatsoever.
I'll be
ridiculous.
very honest in terms of my position because it happened when I was a child. I don't remember everything. As I've said before, it's really a case of really in the grand scheme of things, when it's happening to you, there's bits that you remember and there's bits that you don't because your brain goes into survival mode where at certain times it's going to shut you off just so that you can blank it out and survive through the worst of it or the prolonged attack of it. So it is nigh on impossible to remember every single minute detail because it's just a physiological, like, natural response of your brain as shut off as a survival mode kind of situation. In terms of the year, though, I have to admit and be 100 on this one. I can say I was about 8-9 years old when it started, but I couldn't say for definite how old I was because I was so young at the time.
But Steph, I mean, she's talking literally she's talking about like 2013 to 2020. This is her adult life. In adult situations, that seems a little far-fetched, no?
Maybe, but I couldn't say for certain because of my own experience with it, to be fair.
I can't remember anything I do when I'm a child. It's all a blur when I'm a kid, so I just think it's different when you're grown up and a kid. I remember everything from adulthood. We got Amy on the panel. Well, welcome back, Amy.
Hey! Hi!
For those of you unfamiliar with Amy, Amy was Amber's neighbor for a little while there in the building. The penthouse is all on the ECB building. She's been nice enough to give us a tour, an interview. Amy, you were watching. We're about to go through some of these clips. But what was your overall quick general thoughts on Amber's changing testimony this morning and trying to defend these lies that she's been putting out there?
I mean, like, my head is still spinning. There were so many inconsistencies. I was taking notes. Again, I'm like a note nerd. There were so many things that she said, like before the cross, when she was talking about, when she was showing the photos of the bruises. I was zooming in. I was looking close. She said, again, Steph, you're with me here.
Yeah.
If this woman is lying and using makeup or photographs to lie about DV, if she's lying about this is just so horrible. And there was just a part this morning when she was talking about, I mean, there were so many inconsistencies, but I won't ramble. But when she was talking about taking photos of her bruises after the phone incident, and she was like, oh, I took this photo here and the lighting is this and that. And there was clearly daylight in some of these photos. Mm-hmm. And I was like looking at them, I was like rewinding. And all the penthouses here, I've been in 3 of the penthouses here. And when we did the tour, I let you know that one of my friends rented one of the penthouses here. They all have really tall windows. There's loads of sunlight. And when the cops were there, it was 11 o'clock at night, 11:30. So there wouldn't have been natural light. There wouldn't have been natural light. There would have been light from lamps. And she said something this, you know, in her deposition that like, I took these photos before, after, and during. And I'm like, but I know the architecture of these actual physical spaces because I've been in them. And I'm like, how could that photo have been taken right after this incident when it looks like daylight?
Amy, it's even worse for me. And I talked about this in the first video, but here are these images, right, from months. This is, she said, literally said months after the incident. All right. I couldn't resist to juxtapose them next to
Johnny was
days on the James Corden show. Like, it makes no sense how these scratches that are showing up here that she said were covered with makeup. Hello, where are they on James Corden? Where are they on James Corden?
They're also like, they look like
cream, I think, did it, right, Amy?
They look like self-inflicted scratches or something very calculated because in order to get 3 straight line scratches like that she showed, and again, she called them scars. And if you have scars, scars stay.
Mm-hmm.
A scar is a scar. Like, girl, pull up your sleeve, show the jury, like right now.
Like this scar is, you're right, it's indented, it's bruised.
If you put your hand, there would have to be 3 shards of glass of the same height, of the same size to brush against to get those kind of scratches from there. And if she's really lying about all of the bruises, the makeup, some of the bruises are under her cheekbone. And then I was scrolling forward, you know, and then some are here and some are above. And then none of those photos are time-stamped.
Correct.
So she's protected because, you know, she can't actually say when those were taken. But she said that she took photos before the cops, during, and after. And that's when I was like, wait, whoa. And, I mean, cut ahead to her going to get the restraining order. And she says, I'm not wearing a stitch of makeup. I didn't wear a stitch of makeup. Now, she didn't even legally have to go there to the courthouse. I feel like she probably tipped off the paparazzi, or as she said, the most cameras I've ever seen photographing me, right?
No one's buying
I've never seen, I'm like, girl, you've been to the Met Gala. You see more photographs than that. Like, we know the Met Gala. Like,
and
I
they
work
were
in
all
fashion,
screaming
you know
mean things at her too, is what she said, Amy. Like, they were all being so mean to her. We have so much to watch. I want to hear your comment, but sorry, I'm interrupting. I'm going to do it a few times today.
No.
Everyone,
You're my
I
friend.
apologize in advance, but I want to keep, because we have a lot to go through. She also was pointing out the makeup was very interesting to me, because as we all remember, this is the one she used, right? Elaine told us in the beginning.
About how she had to mix.
She's going to show us how she did it, right?
Of the bruises.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about as a color correction kit. This is not obviously the exact one I used to carry, but I.
Oh, of course! Right, now that it's all been exposed, this is obviously not the one. Even
After
though
Milani
Elaine
makeup
said over
was
and over
like,
again,
no.
this is the one. Obviously. Now, Christopher, that's such a subtle little thing there that I'm sorry, I can't resist, but why would she have said that if she wasn't paying attention, correct? It was such a clear, like, let me make a note to everyone to correct my wrong previously. Oh, obviously this is not the one. Does that scream coaching to you?
Yeah, I mean, her attorneys can look on social media and develop information that way. And now a question could be asked still here on Cross to Amber. Has she herself seen any of the social media stuff? I don't think it's a problem for her or Johnny to be doing that as long as they're not, you know, on the stand while they're doing it or during a break while they're testifying. So, you know, it does seem like they're definitely trying to correct things and clean up things. And that's, you know, that happens in trial, but still there's so many other inconsistencies out there. So hopefully the jury is picking up on that. And it's just common sense that you don't conceal a bruise that well the next day. I mean, she had a shiner there when apparently when she went to court on May 27th, 2016. Next day, nothing. And why would she go to court without the makeup but then choose to wear it the next day? So she didn't give any good explanation of that at all. They just went very quickly through that. I thought they would have gone a little bit deeper on that.
Well, so I don't want to bury the lead because I hyped this in the title, and I think we need to get through some of this, and I want to play a lot of this because I thought Camille, I'm wearing the shirt. I love Camille now. She stepped it up like crazy, and I love how just it felt more organized. It felt more prepared. The clips were ready. Things, I don't know what, but they took the week clearly to make it feel more like someone who knew what they were doing. And I'm about to play it, Christopher, but did you get that vibe too, that suddenly a professional had stepped up with a clear goal in mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could have been tighter, honestly. A lot of expectations for Cross. So everyone's waiting for Cross for them to deliver the goods. And in Cross, it's all about controlling the witness. It's not allowing her to give explanations. It's yes or no. And Amber was trying to take control and actually was in control at a point, and the judge did then shut that down. So Camille was able to get the motion to strike granted, just saying, hey, answer yes or no. But some of the questions could have been tighter. We could go over that. And then the whole, table that was arranged of paraphernalia on there, I don't think that went anywhere, but we can break those down.
That was one I agree. Amber sort of seemingly won that one, but I'm going to start at the beginning because as Christopher said, there were expectations, and here's how it started right out the gate.
Good afternoon, Ms. Heard.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Mr. Depp hasn't looked at you once this entire trial, has he?
Not that I've noticed, no.
You've looked at him, though, many
Take a drink every time she answers Camille by looking at the jury.
times, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
You know exactly why Mr. Depp won't look back at you, don't you?
I do.
He promised you you would never see his eyes again. Isn't that true?
I don't recall if he said that.
One of the last times you ever saw Mr. Depp was when you met him in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
That was the second to last time I saw him, yes.
And this was after you had publicly accused him of domestic violence.
I got my restraining order before that, yes.
And this is after you had obtained the domestic violence restraining order against him.
That's correct.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 1229. For the record, it's at 11:01 through 12. Yes, please.
I don't understand. Is this what you want?
No. Oh, no, a hug will save it all. All this, everything we just
I just wanted to touch you.
Really? After all this shit you just said?
I just wanted to give
After
you a
all this
hug.
shit you fucking accused me of? You
Yes,
want to
please,
touch me?
please stop me. Please stop. Please, I just wanted to hug you to say bye. I didn't want to take it back.
We did that last night. It's fine. That was
Please.
good enough.
No,
No, because I'm nothing to you. And I will always be nothing to you.
Calm. Calm.
What? You're not my shrink. No. No, you're in a fucking heart. No, we'll never see each other again. You won't even don't take my fucking glasses off. You don't like fucking looking at not my fucking eyes? You will not see my eyes again.
Violent. She clearly was grabbing his glasses and grabbing his face. Something telling there.
That's you and Mr. Depp in that recording.
That is.
And this is from when you and Mr. Depp met in San Francisco in July of 2016, right?
Yes, that's what it sounds like. That was in the hotel. We met once after that as well.
This is after you publicly accused him of domestic abuse.
Yes, and got my TRO.
And he tells you will not see my eyes again, doesn't he?
Yes, he does in that recording.
And he kept that promise, hasn't he?
As far as I know, he cannot look at me.
He won't look at you, right, Miss Heard?
He can't.
He can't.
One of the first questions your counsel asked you on direct is, why are you here? Do you remember that?
I do.
Let's please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 3521.
I'm a victim of domestic violence, and
Yes.
you know, it's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
That's your voice on that recording, right?
Yes, it is.
And you were speaking with Mr. Depp?
Yes.
And you said to Mr. Depp, quote, you can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and the judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, a victim too of domestic violence, end quote. That's what you said, right?
I was saying it to the man who beat me up, yes. I thought it was preposterous.
And the man you beat up numerous times. Right, Ms. Heard?
I could never hurt Johnny.
That was a really interesting, I would pause there. Interesting way she tried to answer, right? Because she's being very sneaky. I could never hurt Johnny. So that wasn't a denial, right? Technically, she didn't lie. She didn't do it, right? She's saying, well, I didn't hurt him. But I mean, she did because she cut his finger off, and clearly I'm sure it hurt a few times. But there's lots more we can watch, but I want to go to Christopher legally, Rise. So how is this feeling for you so far? What is your reaction as you're watching this unfold?
Look, I mean, the thing is with cross is, you can end up doing a lot of damage to your own case. And we saw that when they were crossing Johnny. I think that Johnny scored a lot of points on cross because they didn't have good control. For me, it's like you shouldn't ask a question unless you know what the answer is and you're going to get the yes or no. There's no great explanation for it, and you score the point. Here, this is more like an argument. The jury's already heard these tapes. You could argue about the tapes. Having her say that's her voice on there, I don't know that adds anything. So I'm not really seeing the points being established. And it's a dangerous game to sit there and just play that, because now what has Amber done? Saying like, now she's explained why she said, go tell the world, Johnny. She's saying, well, because it would be preposterous, not because it's false, because everyone, just wouldn't believe you. So again, not the line that I would use out of all the sea of information that we got to work with.
Rest, I'll go to you, Steph. Quick thoughts around it so far and how Camille's narrating this.
She's doing us proud. Doing us proud after all the frustrations in terms of Amber Heard being on the stand, swimming in her own narrative, this, that, and the other, and really making our survivorship community really, really angry because of all her, in my opinion, whatever lies. She's finally getting taken down. So Camille is definitely doing our community proud right now. Absolute fighter. Hell yeah! Continue pummeling her. Get destroyed. Destroyed.
Let me play a bit more because I want to get to the rings, and then we'll pause and talk more, and then I'll come to you, Kim and Amy.
You're here in this courtroom because Mr. Depp finally told the world that he is a victim of domestic violence.
I know that he is suing me and has sued other people or corporations that have said that as well.
See, I just wanted to say one thing to Christopher. Like, I value and I appreciate the legal. I think this is more of a PR opening because these are the things we've wanted her to react to see how she reacts to these things. And I think if she hadn't have played the tape and asked this and gone there right away, the public would be like, what the hell, you messed up? And I do think there's two wins, right? He's going for is the public reaction and obviously the jury reaction.
You didn't think he would tell the world he was a victim of domestic violence, did you?
I found it hard to believe that he could or that he would do that, considering the relationship he and I had. I thought it would be crazy for him to do so, knowing what I know we lived through.
Or, as you said to him in that recording, who was going to believe that Johnny Depp, a man, is a victim of domestic violence, right?
With all due respect, I wasn't saying it because he's a man. I was saying it because he's a man who beat me up for 5 years.
Mr. Depp is your victim.
That was a terrible answer. What?
No, ma'am.
And once he left you, you continued to abuse him publicly by calling him an abuser, didn't you?
He is an abuser, and
why does she keep looking
you
at
can
the
look
jury?
Either of us up online and figure out who's being abused.
Yeah,
online.
but that I agree. Looking at the jury's weird, but if you just look at that question, like, what do you expect the answer to be? That's not honestly, it's a terrible cross question
because it opens up too much speculation and stuff. Like
the point of cross is to force the witness to answer questions that are damaging or fatal to their case. It's not to have an argument. So it's like, you know, you didn't think the world would believe Johnny. You didn't think that Johnny would, I mean, what is she going to say that's going to be fatal to her case?
See, that's interesting because
So-
I think I think Camille is trying to show the jury that she's lying early on, as she then begins to establish the rest, to then come back and say once again, because to me that's the whole narrative of the case. At least that's how I see it. Because
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got their strategies. It's just, you know, you got to train the witness, and it's by forcing them to answer very specific questions, yes or no, where the court forces them to answer yes or no. And then once you do that a few times, then the witness is like, yes, master, I have to answer you the way that I'm
Yes.
doing it. Okay, so then maybe you hit them with some of these softer ones. But the point is that it's all about control, and there's a loss of control when you have these bigger open-ended questions, and there's no gotcha. There's not going to be a line of questioning there where she's going to say, "Oh yeah, now you mention it, I was the abuser and he's the victim." You know, that's not coming out from that question.
well, I thought there was a gotcha here. This is what I
Look at some of that.
this is I
Mr.
think
Depp wears rings on every finger, doesn't he, Miss Heard?
That's my experience, yes.
And they're not delicate rings, are they?
No, they are not.
Every one of his fingers is adorned, your words, big, chunky rings. Isn't that right?
That's my experience of him.
And Mr. Depp is always wearing rings, right, Miss Heard?
That's my experience of him.
And you've never known him not to wear these rings.
That's my experience, is he normally wore rings, yes.
So Mr. Depp was wearing these big, chunky rings on every finger. Every incident of abuse you've described to this jury, right?
I can't say for certain it was in every single incident.
But you've never known him not to wear rings, right?
In general,
oh my god,
my experience with
this-
Johnny is that he wears rings almost
she's asking the question. Hey, talk to her, you weirdo.
all the time.
That's good. That's good because that's tight, and then the
Certainly.
jury can hear it. When we teach this trial advocacy, anytime the lawyer on cross then says "so," like you're trying to now make the point, it's usually where you lose the point. So she almost lost it because she set it up saying, "Big chunky rings, always wear them." Yes. Kind of leave it right there. When you try and say, "So he was wearing them when he allegedly hit you," then she's like, "Well, maybe he had them off," you know. So she's trying to loosen it up a little bit.
I
But
see.
that was better because it's tighter and goes to the story.
That makes sense. And so the
Recall giving testimony.
she goes
the
in, and
depositions
I want to bring up the
matter.
chunky rings because she really smartly
for
goes in and
chunk-
uses those chunky rings throughout, as she then begins to describe the injuries and
Vision.
things. There
And
was a
there's
lot.
no injuries to your face. in
No
this picture,
face,
are
no
there?
chunky rings. Wouldn't the
Not
chunky
that
rings do all this
picture
setup? I thought really
There's
did a
no
really
medical
good job.
records reflecting that you
She then
sought
also is
treatment
very
after this
goes on about there's no medical records, there's no evidence of injuries, there's no, you know, all of this stuff started piling up, where I think is really where the momentum started to go. And as a viewer, granted I'm biased, as a viewer I thought that's where things were going. I want to go to you, Kim, and then you, Amy, to get your thoughts. What do you think so far? She got to the ring, she's now getting the evidence. How do you think Camille is doing, Kim?
I think she's doing well. I do agree with Christopher Melcher that there were probably a few things she could have done tighter and not left open that Amber was able to get kind of those little jabs in. But I mean, that seems to be a problem on both sides, in all fairness. But one thing I do think Camille is doing here is I think she is calculated. I think that she is trying to lay a foundation that she's going to be able to really get under Amber's skin. And I've kind of been noticing there's been like little things going, and she was really getting her there towards the end. And I think that's part of it.
We're
So
getting there,
maybe
guys.
So I think part of what she's doing is maybe she's going to let her get a few jabs in there because she wants the jury to see her start to unravel, and then she's going to take it home. That's my theory. I wonder if that's something she could be doing.
Amy?
Take it home. I mean, again, like the inconsistencies of her stories, but also, and Camille was very like, I'm asking you a question with all due respect, answer the question, yes or no. And she just had to always flourish and like add in these little things about it was just like extra, and she just couldn't answer any question with a yes or no. I mean, even going all the way back to when she was talking about, the incident and the phone incident and Rocky and her fiance at the time living there. Oh yes, and they lived there by his invitation. this is like but it was I felt like the whole thing today was she just kept trying to answer with so much extra, but there were so many inconsistencies with her stories. It's like,
but do you feel like that goes with what we've always, Christopher said this, what was it called? There was a term for when
word salad.
Word salad. And
word salad.
You put it all out there to sort of just muddy the waters. So there's no definitive answer.
That's like a Applebee's, like Greek salad, like Caesar salad. Like that's a lot of verbal
salad bar.
Salad right there. Like there's
It's a
so
salad
much
bar.
going
It's a salad
on.
buffet.
Just answer the
What
question.
about meat bar? What about a chocolate bar? Why does it have to be a salad bar?
I think it's a whole, what's a Golden Corral? It's everything.
Guys, proper food. Get some proper food down your gullets. Come on.
Come on, Steph, what was your thoughts when she was talking about the dog poop and the dog
God.
ate his weed
my
and had
gosh.
I didn't even pull those clips because it was too much, but she took so much time to justify it. Yeah.
A teacup Yorkie has pooped the size of Raisinets.
And you've seen those dogs. You probably have seen the poop.
I've seen those dogs.
That poop was not their poop, correct?
Yorkies have poops the size of chiclets, like a Raisinette. It's just impossible. And also, if you eat weed, it makes you dehydrated. Not, it's the opposite. Her dogs would have been constipated, and that's why that is not dog poop.
Well, sorry, I'm going to interrupt for a minute if that's okay, because I have a lot of feelings about this in particular. Amy, do you remember when you were on last time with me that I asked you if Boo was a larger dog? Because Amber had implied that Boo was chunky, and I said, I wonder if she's going to try to pin the poop on him with this idea that he would be capable of doing that. Except, physically he can't. He's not. It's not going to happen. And the other thing is, this whole idea of bringing in weed is just absolutely ridiculous, considering that, I'm sorry, it is. I could do a whole TED
just
talk
to clarify.
about why
Can you set up what she said for people who missed it?
Okay, what she alleged was that when Boo was younger, Boo got into Johnny's weed and had the weed and got very sick and now has permanent damage because he ate the weed. Now, just to get a little nerdy here for a second, when you have raw cannabis, it has not been activated with THC. You have to light it or decarb it for the psychoactive effect to come forward. So if the dog ate the weed, unless they ate a lit flower of some kind, which I would doubt that a dog would put their mouth on fire, it wouldn't have activated. So all they would have gotten would be CBD. And CBD is actually a treatment for bowel disorders for dogs. It makes no sense.
It's just there's no
sense.
Wait, but she admit that it was a practical joke at some point, right? And then she's like, I would not be in the mood. I would not be in a place
Steph, are you okay?
doing a practical joke.
I'm just kind of in the reality of the situation here. Mr. Melcher, did you ever think in your illustrious professional career of your lifetime, with everything that you've done, that you would be in a situation right now that we'd be talking about a little Yorkshire Terrier being basically a pothead and being blamed for cheating on bed? I'm sorry.
I mean, come on, he repped Kanye. I'm sure he's done a bunch of crazy things.
Well, and it's funny that she found a way to blame Johnny for it. That this all relates back to Johnny's fault for, and I can't imagine a dog eating any herb like that. I mean, it just wouldn't taste good.
No.
But yeah.
Oh, the craziness of this.
But I deal with a lot of poo in my business, so it's not that's not unusual.
Where are the vet records?
How How about dogs addicted to weed?
Yeah, it's
That's
some
a
new
first,
charity
yeah.
coming. Wait,
Yeah,
I want to
there
play.
you go.
I want to play this fire because as you just teased it, Amy. Here's where it started getting more contentious. Ready?
Allegedly whacked you in the face so hard you thought he broke your nose.
This is a picture of me after he did whack me in the face.
So hard that he allegedly broke her nose.
The night after, right?
Yes, it is. I believe it was the night after, yes.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Miss Heard?
I'm wearing makeup.
Your nose doesn't appear to be injured in any of these pictures, does it, Miss Heard?
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
That's why I'm wearing makeup.
And makeup covers up swelling, right?
Makeup will not cover up swelling. Ice will, though.
Ice will cover up swelling?
Even Camille's like, ice will cover up swelling? What?
Ice reduces swelling. Normally, the swelling after that kind of injury is not as bad as you might imagine. And for me, it wasn't that bad. I have a picture of it underneath the makeup. That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture
Wait,
you
can I
haven't
say
produced.
something,
Hold on,
Andy?
wait. This is important. This is important. Wait. So, and then
Okay,
yes.
okay.
I have
Go
a
for it.
picture of me underneath the makeup.
That's how I know how to reference it.
A picture you haven't produced or shown to
did.
this jury, right, Miss Heard?
I produced everything.
But you haven't shown it to this jury.
I would very much like to. It's not my job.
Oh, so there's and Amy, I'm coming to you, but this is where I really wanted to, Christopher, because this became a very, once she got her, right, and it got her, well, oh yeah, the ice and the makeup covered up her broken nose. Liar. But this is where things went off the rails. Now Amber starts doing the semantics throughout the rest of this trial of, well, I'd like to show the photos, but I can't.
Yeah.
I gave them everything, blah, blah, blah. It's like
Yeah.
semantics argument that I could tell Camille went a couple times to go bar and was like, this is ridiculous, Your Honor. Like, she can't keep saying, and I assume that's what happened. Am I correct? You can't keep saying we don't have you did not provide this evidence. How can Johnny's team combat someone who's now going to say, well, I gave it. It's not my fault. You don't have it.
Well, that's the failing of the question, and I hate to be critical, but that's why you don't try and tie up the loose end with the witness on the stand. You tie it up in closing argument when the witness can't respond. But that's where she went. The first question was right. Look at this photo. You do not see any injury in this photo. Yes or no? And she could have forced her to say no. She was trying to say because it's makeup, but the answer is no. Okay, leave it alone. But she then tried to tie it up and to say, well, basically it's because you weren't injured. And then she throws out the photo. And then Camille, instead of just leaving that alone, says, well, but you didn't show the photo. Now gives her the opportunity of saying, well, I have it. I wanted to show it. Insinuation, you blocked me from showing it.
Now,
So
what if that's
she's-
untrue?
It doesn't matter. The jury heard it.
So there's no way for Camille or team to be like, there is no photo on record that shows this, and she's lying about that, and she keeps
The
saying
thing
there's photos,
is
but there
that,
aren't.
I mean, the photo might be there, but wasn't authenticated, because they don't have the metadata. And now you don't want to get into that whole world because now there's maybe a photo that's not going to look good and has to be explained. So again, it's this whole thing about cross, and I don't want to be critical, but it's all about control and knowing when not to ask questions. And so the first question was right. Look at this photo. No injuries shown. Whether it's makeup or not doesn't matter. No injuries shown. Yes, move on. But when she tries to then go in for the kill, then Amber's kind of escapes the trap and actually then throws in some comment that makes it very difficult now. Because again, we're all biased to hear what we want to hear. But if the jury is on Team Amber, they're hearing this evidence and they may be coming to completely different conclusions than we are.
Do you guys agree? Amy, go ahead.
Okay, so there's been so many people online that are experts in body language.
Yes.
And
They're all
analyze
coming out of
that.
the woodwork.
But there was something that really rang a bell with me today when she was talking about the phone incident and or one of the incidents. She went like this on the left side of her face. She was flinching, and she was like, I tried to hide it and or protect myself, but all of the photos are on the right side of her cheek with the bruises. So if you replay the footage of her being, in the beginning of the trial today, when she's talking about that, she's talking and she goes, oh, but and I went like this to protect myself, but all of the photos are on the other side. So why did her body do that in response on the left side of her face. I don't know. Just one detail that I noticed, and I was like,
Speaking of details, thank you, Tina Harris. She just sent me a picture of her teacup Yorkie's poop next to the sides of a quarter for comparison. I won't share with you all, but I can. She's right. I just looked at it, and I can confirm that it is not the size.
Man.
It is not the size of. It is not the size of that
Free
poop.
the poop. Hashtag free the poop.
Can we show
Hashtag
poop on
free the
YouTube?
poop.
I think that gets us
Yes.
demonetized.
It's not poop. It's dog poop.
I'll send it in the chat for you here, Steph. You and Kim can look.
Come on, show
Oh,
it.
no. Hashtag free the
There
poop.
you go.
Everyone
There's
in
the
the
poop.
chat. Hashtag free the poop.
Yep. That's
Hashtag
right.
free the poop.
I'll say it after we trim. I'll go there. That'll be in the members only portion. Okay? Deal.
Okay. Deal. Deal.
So stick around.
Let's see the phone.
There we go. All right, so that let's go. We have another one I want to get to. Of this, I thought this was a pretty fiery exchange in the cross as well.
These pictures ended up in People magazine in June of 2016. Isn't that right, Ms. Heard?
That's correct.
You gave these pictures to People magazine after you publicly accused Mr. Depp of domestic abuse, didn't you?
I didn't personally know.
This was you protecting Mr. Depp after you got the restraining order against him, isn't it?
No, this is him calling me a liar and me forcing to prove it, as I mentioned to you earlier.
So you did give these pictures to People magazine?
No, I gave these pictures actually to my lawyers and my representatives at the time.
So it's your testimony, Ms. Heard, that your lawyers and representatives gave these pictures of their client to People magazine in the middle of a contentious divorce?
I certainly did not personally give it, no.
I did not personally give it. This was again such bullshit of an answer.
Yeah.
But Christopher, you really think? I thought that was a good layup, or is this too vague as well? To me,
No, I agree. I think
prefer
it
that
would
as-
be.
The jury's gonna be like,
Again,
well, clearly you had to have some involvement in giving those photos.
I love the line of questioning, and again, it just tighten it up. This a picture of you in People magazine? Yes. June? Yes. Did you give the pictures to People magazine? No. Okay. No, I didn't give them personally, which like you say is a giveaway, meaning somebody gave them to on behalf. Did you authorize your attorneys to do that?
That would have been a better follow-up than it really would
You
have.
know, something we might get an objection there, but it's hard because you got this whole attorney-client privilege, and we're seeing her hide behind that in several respects in her testimony. It was like, I didn't talk to the cops because my lawyer told me not to talk to the cops. We all know what that means. But she's laying a lot off on the lawyer, and that's basically what she's doing here. But I think, look, the point's made. If the jury's inclined to disbelieve her, then they're going to say, yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, you're going through a divorce. You want protection of the court. Why are you going to People magazine? But you have LAPD officers coming into your apartment and you won't speak to them, but you'll talk to People magazine? That doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any more sense. Go ahead.
And just as a side note, guys, Mr. Melcher actually made this point amongst many others. I follow him on Twitter. You guys should be doing too, at CA_divorce, because he provides like pretty much live kind of analysis as the trial is going on. And as you can imagine with Mr. Melcher, he is making some fire points on Twitter at the moment. So if you haven't done so already,
Yeah, and
get your backsides over there.
I also want to say, like, anybody who's criticizing Christopher for seemingly not standing Camille, you're the part of the problem, because we need to be able to criticize and hear all sides of this. That's what we do on this channel, because he's an expert. He knows, and it does. His feedback here is, I think, very valuable. And I see some of you. There's a fight now. You're starting to fight, Christopher. People are like, no, you're just supposed to say that you love her and defend her. And no, we don't want to be an echo chamber here. I want to hear the criticism so we can learn, because clearly Amber and her team are learning. And Camille's got another day tomorrow, and maybe they've been listening to us before. I hope Camille can tighten up a bit, because I think he's making some valid points here that hopefully tighten it all up. But yeah, your threads have been amazing. Thanks for sharing them over here. We try to go there, but make sure you're following them over there. But yeah, I want to get go ahead if you have a thought, anybody. But I wanted to get to the charity bit before we wrap up. That was the other main fiery exchange where it got near the end. It's a little bit longer, but here, let me set up, because I've been waiting for this one.
Statement reads,
They were-
Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues, However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Thank you. Commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
Ooh.
I believe I said I had. I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or
You know she fucking remembers this.
Commented on and stated in the press.
It's been all over the internet. You liar.
Already released
I
that
believe.
information in the press. I think I just confirmed it on that show.
I think I just.
You appeared on a show called RTL Late Night, right?
I don't recall
remember the name.
What show it was.
I'm too important. I don't remember my shows I go
play
on.
Plaintiff's Exhibit 3-4.
She remembers every show she goes on. Don't you think, Amy? She probably keeps a damn photo album of all the damn appearances she's done. Didn't she keep a whole photo album of every appearance that they made her pull all the magazines of every damn thing she did? And we're supposed to believe this bee doesn't remember what
photos
show
of everything, audio of everything. That's her jam. Like she just keeps like, oh, I don't recall. Girl, please. Oh, bye.
What a joke.
6, which is a portion of your appearance.
Just answer the
on this
question.
program. And we would ask that it be moved into evidence. And ask
Okay, so then they go. This took a while to get but I think.
There actually were all kinds of accusations flying your way when you said all this, and then there was a divorce settlement. You got $7 million. People were saying this is all about the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to. I split it between.
It's you know what's interesting, guys. I'm sorry to pause. I want to watch this closer because she's lying, and so we get to watch her tells. And you know what she does? She does that sigh. She's doing the same thing she's doing on the stand. Watch it again.
About the money, but then you did something that twisted that whole argument. What did you do with that money?
$7 million in total was donated to. I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. Yeah. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform.
And turns out they're super corrupt.
More power to you, because that's something that I've never heard
I wanted nothing.
This interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
I'm just gonna pretend like I don't know when.
2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was.
I don't remember any dates, unless it's
This was
important to
after
me.
you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement for Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
Yes, Steph?
She don't remember the dates, however, she remembers every single minute detail from start to finish of every single alleged attack that Johnny did against her.
And she photographs all of it in detail. She photographs all of it and audios all of it, but then all of a sudden she can't remember stuff. It's like,
Amy, honey, all of a sudden there's some photographs that haven't been shown to jury, but then that's not in her control, apparently. Excuse me, who's hired who? Is it the lawyers that have hired Amber? Is it Amber that has hired her lawyers? I mean, screw the pooch, what the deuce, right? Oh, it's insane.
Right, she has no say over anything. She doesn't even have say over when her lawyers release photos to People magazine. She has no idea. She's not involved in anything.
Who took the photos of her when she was getting the restraining order? When she wasn't wearing a stitch of makeup, she's there sitting down. Her lawyer was like,
yeah, because they let the paparazzi in the courthouse, right?
Snapshot. Who took that photo?
That was some secret
Who
pop
took
that comes in
photo?
there, right? Christopher, you've been in that courthouse. They just let the paparazzi in to take
No,
photos. Right?
it's forbidden. The paparazzi cannot go inside and take photographs. It's absolutely no way that happened.
Who took that photo? A lawyer? Like, who took that photo of her with not a stitch of makeup, showing her bruise while she was getting the restraining order?
She didn't testify who took the photo, but definitely that is inside the courthouse and against the law. And that, and again, it's weird. Like, why would you even allow yourself to be photographed? And then she's so upset when she walks out, and then she's being photographed by other people. So doesn't make sense.
Yeah, she never makes it. But here we go.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
So she admitted right there, the full $7 million was in her hands in 2018. She acknowledged it. Very easy to prove when this thing was taped, but of course semantics. She's gonna waste time. But
Look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is.
I think this is when they go and basically confirm all that. This is when the accountant, all the money comes in, yada yada yada. But then I think this is the clip, and then we get to the heat here.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
Yes.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement, $7
that's not
million
my
to
question.
charity, and I
Ms.
intend to
Heard, Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
What was
try
your
to answer
question?
my question.
You know the
Here
fucking
today.
question.
You have not donated the $7 million.
Look
donated,
at Ben.
Not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another.
But I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard.
I don't.
I use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything, and I didn't get anything.
Who are you looking
You
at?
wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I loved Johnny, that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
She admits it. Yeah.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name, and at the time I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted
So
to
it was all about the publicity. You just admit she just brought. Johnny was bigger, so I had to do whatever I could to combat his bigger publicity.
remind every one of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, as a noble victim of domestic violence,
I
didn't
have
you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim.
Yeah, there it comes out.
Nor have I ever called
She found the trigger.
myself one.
You testified under oath.
You take a note as a lawyer, right? You take a note at that point. I found the trigger, right? Is that a button push? Where you
Well,
like, I
yeah,
gotta use
she
victim
needs
again
more
later?
time. And if, Dr. Curry's right about the, this personality, very impulsive, explosive personality, big shifts into anger, then we should see some of that triggering happen. And again, Camille did a great job here. Okay, so this was the area that I liked, because Amber's coming in there and saying, donate and pledge mean the same thing. Now, this is a very articulate person we're talking about. You saw on the Danish show, she's talking about ACLU, helping marginalized communities. This is somebody who knows the English language and would not mix up those two words. So right there, that was good that she attacked her on that. Amber was saying, well, I couldn't donate the money because I got sued, but Camille had established that for 13 months before Johnny sued, she had the $7 million in cash. So she had that opportunity. So that's the area. That's what I liked. What Camille did in that respect is because she controlled it. She got the information out. She exposed the lie, and then she moved on.
Yeah, and then just to wrap up, then I'm going to get all your thoughts. But
That quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes. No. Ms. Hurt, this is really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection, and we'll just.
And then
move forward.
Elaine's over there trying to.
Yeah.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Heard?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement.
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay
Ms.
for the
Heard,
entire
Ms.
house
Heard,
at one
respectfully.
time.
I have
I'm
feelings
asking.
about that
Ms.
right
Heard.
there.
Next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But
to
you didn't
charity.
donate it.
Unfortunately,
You didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those
So that's a no, right,
obligations.
Ms. Heard?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Heard?
disagree with your characterization of that.
Let's look at your sworn testimony. From
It's weird. Why didn't she pounce on that, Christopher? Because it feels like that was the win right there. Because she had the money for 13 months. She keeps saying, "Well, Johnny sued me. Johnny sued me." That's a total lie on the stand. Like, you had the money. You just admitted you had the money, and Johnny didn't sue you till a date. Do you know why she didn't really hammer that home?
No, she did. I mean, that's like
You
I say,
think it
the
was?
danger is that if she keeps, because we're just going around in circles.
Got it.
You
Okay.
know, donate, pledge, and she established a fact that Amber had the money 13 months in full, the whole $7 million before Johnny sued. So that can't be the reason why she didn't pay. She had plenty of opportunities. So I think that was done correctly. The one thing that I think that could have been established here is that when she says pledge, she's just saying, "Hey, I will," but there was never a contract that I'm aware of that she had with either charity that obligated her, meaning that she could be sued if she didn't pay. That it was just some email and phone call and something about "I will," but if she didn't fulfill that, I don't know that the charities could actually go and sue for a promise to make a gift under those circumstances. So it would have been helpful to say, like, well, hey, you never signed a contract to do it. But again, she established the point, and that's the thing on cross is like you got to make the point, and then you got to go on to the next one. And the longer you sit on it, the more time you give the witness to give answers.
I want to go through everybody else, get the final thoughts of other thoughts that Camille said. The one I'm going to add that we didn't get to quickly because it was hard to pull everything, but there was a moment where she really talks about how he hits you so hard that your lip went through your teeth. You didn't show any pictures of the jury. Oh, well, I don't know. I sent so many photos, and Camille was really hitting hard. That picture doesn't exist. This is the only photo you submitted in March 2013 and really hit it hard. And then there was another moment similar where she's like, there's no medical records despite several hits where you lost count with him hitting you with all those chunky rings on your finger And she really was just trying, well, yeah, yeah. I felt the credibility was just dying on the stand, as I don't know how anybody rational can listen to this and be like, that is kind of strange that he has all those rings. I see him. And you said you lost count. He was shitting you in the face. And somehow you didn't get medical records. There's no photo evidence of it. It felt odd to me. I'll go around. Amy, you haven't had a chance to talk a bit. What were any other surprises you want to add based on what you saw today in the cross or just the whole day?
I mean, it was, there was just so much. I took notes. I mean, it's just, for anyone watching, again, it is horrific if she is lying about domestic abuse. Broken nose.
She is.
Broken nose, split lip, black eyes, bruising. I mean, there's so many accusations, and then again, no medical records, no and every single person who saw her, my doorman downstairs, the police, the neighbors, the friends, no one actually saw this bruises, including the night that the four cops came. And so that's where it makes me literally sick to my stomach that if she is lying or using makeup to doctor these photos or to something else to make a farce of people who actually have been abused. And it just infuriates me.
Yeah, I know it infuriates Steph and Kim. Kim, we'll go to you. What did you think? Anything else you want to add? I know you were keeping lots of notes too.
Yeah, I think the other thing I thought was very interesting about Amber today was as soon as she was called out on something, like with her nose, when she kept on saying it felt like that I broke my nose. She said he broke my nose, and she said that multiple times. And then as soon as it's like, well, did you go to a doctor? She goes, oh well, it felt like he broke my nose. It all just magically changed. And then there was one point where she said that she had shingles.
Yes,
it just was the most, it just kept getting weirder. And it's like,
where was that?
How does it even make any sense? There was so much she said today between Boo and the shingles and her definition of, pledging and donating. Just,
she has a skin condition too, apparently, right? She can't go in the sun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, she had a lot of pool parties over here, so
That's a lie.
if she had a skin condition and couldn't go in the sun, she wouldn't be hanging out. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, it's true. I feel like we got a little glimpse of the delusional world of Amber Heard today. That was what I felt like. I think we're going to see a lot more of that moving forward.
It's really, really tricky. And I was losing hair. I was losing weight. I got really sick. I had shingles. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in a panic attack. I had panic attacks all the time. I was falling apart.
I was having diarrhea. I was vomiting. I was allergic to crabs suddenly. I had weird spots all over my face and nose. Oh my God. And then my nose fell off. And then my ears fell off. And then I went blind. And then I lost my smell, but it wasn't COVID. Oh my God. And then I just kept getting hit in the face by a frying pan, but the frying pan was on its own. Then I lost my feet. And then my fingernails flew out. I mean, my God, Kim, it was like this list just keeps growing and growing.
It's insane. And I feel like I think it is just that word salad thing, that she's just flourishing so much all the time to try to make it look like it's worse than it is. And the lies are just getting bigger.
Yeah.
And she has to repeat everything. There's never a time since she's been on the stand that she has said something once, including a yes or no answer. She always has to repeat herself. Like, this trial could be cut in half by time.
Oh my God, there could be such a better editor on this trial, right, Amy?
She just has to say things twice, no matter what it is. And it's like, it's not working.
Steph, your turn. What else did we miss? Anything else you want to add?
Bitch, who you trying to fool? Who you trying to fool? I'm sorry, but firstly, Camille was right. Where's the damn freaking medical records? You said you got freaking pummeled by Johnny Depp. Bunch in the face. Broken noses, black eyes, everything. Bottle situation.
Wine bottles, yep.
My goodness, where's the damn freaking medical records? Because I tell you something, right? Ice can do a lot of things, but it ain't that freaking magical. It's not like freaking Amica cream. Let's put it that way. Bitch, who you trying to fool? Also, as well, seeing that I'm from England and, you know, I'm the English person, this, that, and the other for the English language, blah, blah, blah. Let me take you back to school, Amber Heard. From the Oxford Dictionary, you know, just to take you back to school. So get your apple, get your pencil, write it all down, you know, get your glasses on, this, that, and the other, and taking you back to school. To pledge, right, means to commit to a solemn promise, to verbalise your intent to do something, right? But guess what? To donate, that is the action, right? That's the verb where you actually donate the money to charity. You take that action then to follow through on your pledge and donate to charity. So don't for 1 minute think that you can conflate those two freaking words and be like, well, they both mean the same. No, you stupid freaking bitch. They don't. Freaking read the Oxford Dictionary, go back to freaking school, because obviously you really don't know English. Oh my freaking God.
Read a book.
Bitch.
It's so true because...
Bitch, who are you trying to fool?
She reads a lot of books. She needs to read more books. She's always talking about reading books, right?
She does. She doesn't read. Well, and back to you, Mel, but you make up a point because it's like she tried to compare it to like, well, when you buy a house, I don't know, a mortgage feels a lot more obligatory than saying you're donating to charity. That is not the same commitment at all. Like, not even the same
like,
world.
if you don't pay your mortgage,
yeah, you get deep
lose
shit.
your house.
They take the house
It's not
away
an optional
if you don't
payment plan.
donate
It's like,
your
oh,
pledge
I
amount.
can't do it this month. I'm sorry, babe.
I wish Camille had noticed that. Well, if Camille had just taken that, right? Camille could have taken that and been like, you know, yes, you said, well, when you buy a house, you don't pay your mortgage. They take the house back, Amber, don't they? So I don't know. There's a clear definition difference between donate and pledge. So the word salad's getting away, but this is semantics. Do you expect more semantics tomorrow, Christopher?
Well, yeah, I'm hoping we do see Camille get under her skin and see this explosive personality that Dr. Curry talked about and that we saw in the tapes. That could make all the difference. We saw a hint of it in one other respect that I'll cover really quick, which was this whole thing about substance abuse and usage. And what Johnny's saying is that staged coffee table scene.
Yep.
And Camille was going through with Amber saying, look, there's lines of a substance on this table, and she's trying to talk about it. And Amber corrected her, basically saying, like, in a very condescending way, like, you wouldn't know anything about this substance.
Cocaine.
I'm not sure what I could say.
It was
so
clear
you wouldn't
both
know
of them
anything.
have done a little...
But she said that right after earlier testifying that, I have never really used much of this stuff at all, and I did it this one time with the MDMA and mushrooms, and
then she's suddenly an expert.
It was Johnny was the one who had the problem, but all of a sudden now she's correcting and condescending Camille about it. So I thought there was definitely inconsistency there.
Yeah, it was very funny how she became an expert. Like, no, trust me, it would have this. And Camille was right. There would be residue. Like, I don't do it either, but I see enough movies. I know enough. Like,
if she was doing the booger sugar when she was 19, but then not again, and then she's like no illicit drugs, but then you're like cutting to Coachella with all the other things. It's like she's trying to paint herself as this innocent, sober person to win over the jury, and it's just ugh.
Well, I will say this. I have been speaking to some people who know her. Sources have been reaching out. If you knew Amber, you have insight, please, I will keep it anonymous, but hit me up as long as I can vouch for you. I had one of them text me today saying she really perjured herself today, saying she doesn't do cocaine. And I don't believe for a second that she doesn't do it still. I've heard from multiple people that say she has a massive substance problem and that she's really nasty when she's on it. And this whole thing that she's trying to spotlight it for Johnny, but then not admit her own accountability of what she does is absolutely absurd. I hope there's some evidence or something that will come to light to be able to hammer on that later, because it seems like anybody who knows her knows that's a complete joke. All right, I think we've talked about the main stuff, but it's free for all now. I know you. Do you need to go, Christopher? I'll give you an out if you want to say anything else to say before you get out of here. Oh my God, I trimmed this portion in because I was going to cut the whole show, but if you're watching on the replay, I couldn't resist. Guys, she wore a bee earring. I stepped on a bee. She's totally watching everything. This is insane. Props to, who brought this to our attention? Daniel, Paul, and then Daniela sent it over here. Holy moly, guys, she is a massive troll, and she's watching it all. That is an epic troll.
Epic troll move.
You know what? I gotta hand it to her. That's amazing.
Oh,
that's
my
amazing.
God. I don't want to give her credit for anything, but being a psychopath.
She's watching it all.
Gucci bee ties, dog versus bee earrings. Oh my God. Stepped on a bee?
There it is.
It just shows when I'm going to wear a bee tomorrow to F with them all.
Well, that's cool. I don't feel bad about trolling her with the memes. So keep going, everyone.
Yeah, she's not offended, guys.
She's
not
affected.
offended.
She's definitely affected. She wants to try to fight back without actually saying something by wearing these earrings, which means we're getting to her. All of this stuff is affecting her. This is a troll move. I admit it's clever. Yeah. It's trolly, but it also lets me know that she did this thing. She actually did this as part of her wardrobe, knowing what she was going to be on camera. She cares, y'all. She cares.
Oh, she cares. So they just said these are holy shit, $430 bee earrings. There they are.
Yep.
Where's the money?
She picked them up like, oh, I need to get those bee earrings. I don't believe Gucci said. Maybe Gucci did was like, hey, psst, wear these earrings tomorrow. They're going to be
So when
viral.
the Children's Hospital is wondering where the money's at, it's right there.
Do you think Gucci paid her to wear them?
I think she used some of that $7 million that she got that she didn't give to the ACLU to pay for that.
Wow.
That
Insane.
is wild.
She's a psycho, dude.
That's her getting her last word in to tell you, like, she'll sting you. She'll get you.
And it makes me think, yo, she wore it on the left side. Maybe she didn't want the jury to see it.
She didn't want the jury to see it. You're totally
right. She didn't want the jury to see that other side.
Isn't she not allowed to be looking at media while she's
Yeah,
testifying?
but prove
That's
it.
the point.
Prove
Yeah.
it. Prove it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, prove it. But she's clearly is, Kim. She is by seeing this.
Guys, that was an amazing show. Make sure to pick up your I Love Camille shirts because it's just getting started. If you want to watch the full show because you missed the live stream, do me a favor and hit that join button. You can always catch the replays. They're on the main channel page in the members only playlist. You scroll down, you'll see it there. If you can't join, at least hit that subscribe and catch us live. If you catch us live, you get the whole show for free. When we show it, it's usually 3, sometimes 4 hours, but I trim these shows to make sure more people catch the most important stuff, which are the recaps. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow after the trial day. Thanks to Linda, Steph, Kim, Christopher Melcher, Amy, Lewis, Jody, and everybody else who watched and sent in support or comment. You always can. Did you know there's a little super thanks button? Yeah, it's new. If you hit super thanks, you can do it on any video. You can always support your creators. So please support your creators, and thanks for watching us. We'll be back tomorrow. If you're watching live, don't click away. It's going to take you straight over to Nerd Report, my favorite. We're going to rate them over there. Let's all surprise them. Don't click anything. We're taking over, unless you're watching later, then click on one of these. If you're watching now live,